some people, life is about reaching a destination. But for me, life's all about the journey. And on my journey, there are no speed limits on the road to success. So our last race weekend, we had a little bit of trouble in qualifying. Our practice was good, and then once we went to go qualify, on my second lap, we came out of the corner and my car must have popped out of gear, and it was just revving super high. Like, it was kind of an unknown thing. I wasn't really sure what was going on. So I shut the car off and brought it in. So we had a really slow second lap, and it ended up being our clutch disc was broken. So we changed that, and then we went back out. That took a fair bit of time because we weren't sure what it was. We didn't know if it was the clutch or transmission or what was going on.
We were able to get it out. We made the first feature. Unfortunately, I believe I left some of the shifter rods a little too loose, and one of the shifter rods fell off after she shifted into neutral under one of the cautions, and we lost a few laps in the pits just getting that tightened back up. Able to get her back out and pick up a few spots. We lost a couple of cars during the race, so through attrition she was able to pick up a few spots. So a good finish considering where we started the feature.
Well, after the first feature, I was kind of bummed, but then I just remember, like, we have another feature. I can't be bummed. You can't let your emotions take over, or else you won't, like, you'll psych yourself out for your next race or your qualifying or whatever. So you kind of have to take your problem and just let it go.
You know, not only do we have a transmission in here, we also have another clutch and a clutch disc. So I went through our parts. You know, when we started the year, we didn't have a whole lot of parts for this car. And I started digging through some of what we did have, and there's some stuff that we had from our previous car that will work in this, some driveline parts and obviously transmission and clutch, that sort of thing. So we had the time in between our last race and this race to get the car ready, but also get some parts and ready for the trailer just in case we do have another issue, and we won't have to scramble as hard because we'll have parts available for us right here in our trailer.
Okay, so we're gonna go pull my number to see where I start in qualifying. And my friends Abby and Mackenzie are gonna pull for me.
Overall, I don't think you could ask for a better relationship with your daughter. I mean, Kendra and I get along wonderfully. Again, having a 17-year-old daughter and getting along as well as we do is fantastic. Spending the amount of time together that we do, still getting along is I think, a testament to that. When she's not working and I'm not working, we spend a lot of time together, either in the garage or even just sitting on the couch joking with one another. And she's got an absolute wonderful sense of humor. I really enjoy that, and that allows us to joke with one another quite a bit. And that takes the tension out of a lot of situations, and I think it's probably made our relationship even stronger than if we didn't have that sense of humor.
Mini stocks, please line up for practice. Mini stocks, please line up for practice.
It's really hard. I don't.
It is, but that's why it's important that we get it figured out. Because if you're like, nah, that's just this, and you're like, nah, the car's just a tail.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm just not good at math, so.
Super stocks, please line up for practice. Super stocks,
all right.
please line up for practice.
That's far more front stagger
Than we
we've had
need.
in the past. But we got quite a bit of rear stagger, and if we have this much front stagger, this will free the car up. And if we have more front staggers, we're going to make the car tight and loose.
Tight.
Right, because it adds weight, more staggers. Not that it does anything for the handling so much, it just affects that. So I've got an almost 18-year-old daughter. She's 17 now. I've got a 17-year-old daughter who wants to spend time with me in the garage working on the car. I really got it made as a father. about 3 laps, half, 3/4 throttle, and then 3 hard laps, and then we're coming in. And when we come in, we'll clean the tires off the best we can and do the measurements on them. Try and get all this off. Nick and Halliburton. So, all right, widen her up here, widen her up, 3/4, 3/4. Just follow Taylor, follow Taylor. Looks like he's doing the same. Follow Taylor. Good job. And 2 more of these behind Taylor. Good job.
It feels loose out there.
Oh, probably is.
Loose on entry.
Oh, yeah?
When it's all the way out there. Only
Oh,
when
I
I
see.
pull it out there though, but then it's faster. So who cares? So we're going to the driver's meeting, which is where they tell us the itinerary.
Drivers meeting in a tech shed.
The itinerary for the night, what's going on. If we had any issues last week, they'll cover over that and tell us not to do that anymore.
Well, it's been a few weeks off for some of you. Some of you not so long. Restarts. You keep the pace of the pace truck, not slow down to a crawl as soon as the pace truck pulls off. You maintain pace speed. If you do not, I'm done with it. To the back you will go. There'll be one warning. If you don't pick it up and keep up pace, to the back. Tech tonight. In the heats, just the winner. Top 5 for time trials. 1, 2, 3 in the features. Fan appreciation night. Let's have some fun. Let's smile. Let's make our fans nice and happy and show them we're the best. The best looking drivers, got the best cars, and the nicest people around. Like you are.
I love fan appreciation. I think it's so fun to have kids especially come up to you, and like to you it's not really that big of a deal that you race, but to them it's like, oh my god, you're a race car driver. Like it would be the equivalent to me meeting my favorite NASCAR driver.
Guys, photo op with the driver. Get over here, guys. All you little kids, get in line. Everybody, all the kids, get in the line.
I think being younger, I'm more approachable to younger kids. So I think that definitely makes a difference, but also people, kids, girls, young girls really look up to me because it's not something you usually see. I hate to say that, but it's not usually something you usually see, which sucks because I think that anybody is just as capable, if not more capable than the next person at racing or at like anything you want to do. Any sports are really male dominated, especially racing. So I love to see little girls come up to me and they're like, oh, you're my favorite driver and I just want to be just like you one day. And I'm like, you can be. It's not like, it's not out of reach.
Smile. I know you have to cheer for your dad, but cheer for me a little bit tonight, okay?
Yeah, if there's anything that we need to work on in the program, it's probably the qualifying. We've run with a couple top 10s, we talked about that. We're real happy with the on-track performance. Qualifying's a different deal. I mean, you got to get after it in 2 laps, you got to hit your marks perfectly, you got to get on the gas, off the gas, roll through the corners, screaming, okay? When you leave here, if you can, spin the tires.
I am personally, I think I'm a long distance driver. As soon as the more laps I do, the faster I get. So I'm really terrible at qualifying, really terrible. Which I hope to get better this year. But we have to make sure or try our best to get our fastest 2 laps right off the bat, which is what we usually try to do in our last practice. So you come out at the end 2 and then take the green on the front straightaway, and then you have 2 laps to get your fastest 2 laps. With these tires, are so heat sensitive, so it's kind of difficult to make sure you have the best heat in your tires, everything's set up right. You're mentally prepared for the next 2 laps having to be the fastest you can be. And it's honestly, I think it's terrifying qualifying. You're like, oh my gosh, everyone's staring at me, like I'm the only car out here, everyone's watching me, and if I mess up, everyone's gonna see it. So that's kind of like plays against me, I think, a little bit. But yeah, so qualifying is just your 2 fastest laps.
So Kendra even says, you know, I don't have the feel yet in a single lap or 2. It takes a couple laps to get comfortable with her mark. So better than we've done in the past, so we're working in the right direction. And I mean, a lot of these guys have had just years and years and years of practice doing this qualifying deal, so we'll keep working on that. And at this point in time as well, we got different tire strategies working. Some guys are on new tires, some guys are on older tires. The tires we've got on this car, we've already run a couple features with, so you know, they're not going to run as well as new tires, and there's no doubt there's some new tires out there tonight. So she's doing a good job, something that we will work on though.
2 5/8, whatever that one was.
Is that one right? Yeah.
That one, yeah.
So it's 80, or so it's, wait, what'd you say to add to it?
Add 3 1/8. So write it down if you want.
3 1/8, so then it would be 85 and 1/8.
This is 5/8 plus 1/8.
I mean 6/8.
So what does that give you?
83 and 6/8, or 86 and 6/8.
And what is this here?
83
So
and
what was the stagger? 3 1/8. That's why I was having you do it. You minus it to find it, and then you add what you think it is, and that's how you check your math.
Yeah.
So here we are sitting at the racetrack, and you're getting a math lesson.
And I said I
graduated
knew
high
math,
school.
but I actually don't know math.
25, 31, 2 on the lineup. So you just got out qualified by Ricky. Which doesn't seem right, but and the 25 and 31 are going out now, so let's wheel up. 35 laps. We want to be there all 35 laps.
All 35 laps.
Just run this race. Some guys have newer tires than you. Just be patient. Get whatever the car's willing to do, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, buddy.
Nice roll on the outside. Inside. Inside over. 1 back. 59. Inside. Keep doing a great job, buddy. Keep rolling like that. No one else on the outside behind you?
That was really cool, especially considering I'm used to just driving with her in her normal car. I know she can drive fast, but not that fast. So this is my first time at the races, and it was pretty fun. Kind of surprised I haven't come more because I live so close, but yeah, it was cool. But I thought it was so cool to finally see her race because I asked her all about it, and I know so much about her racing, but I've never seen her, so it was a really cool first experience.
10 back to the 4. You got 81 and 10 back to the 4. Keep rolling that outside. Great job.
And like it's harder for a lot of drivers to see because the sun sets right over and we can't see going into turn 1, 2, like your whole corner is like blind. So yeah, a couple drivers got squirrely and a lot of us hit behind the wreck, so kinda is what it is. We're all tight racing, so.
Behind 81 if you want. Down, down, down. Keep digging, keep digging. Hard, hard, hard. Keep being positive, keep being positive.
It was a little crazy, to be honest. Everybody was loose. Everybody had a loose car. It was the sun coming. Like, we haven't ran a hot night yet, so everybody didn't really know what to expect. Yeah, yeah, everybody was kind of like all over the place and rough, and I think it was unintentional. Like most of the damage I got on my car was, well, actually I'm gonna say all of the damage I got on my car was unintentional. It was just like rough race, car spin out in front of us, so people touch. It's basically one of those things, so I can't really fault anybody or blame anybody for what happened. It's just a couple donuts, and what happens when you're racing tight. So. I'm really not going to complain. I actually prefer this to a clean car is nice, but you probably weren't as racy or as into it as everybody else was. So.
They have an air pressure gauge, so pull it in there. It's going to be a quick caution, so you got to be quick.
Oh, how the car performed? Totally awful. It was not good at all. It was really, really loose the whole night, so the back end wanted to kick out every time I got on the gas, which is awful for us because we can't, like, the later we get on the gas, the more people are beating us, and then the later we want to stay on it because we're not that fast going into the next corner, and then you kind of blow the next corner too. It's really a fine line you have to find, so a tough race for us. Yeah, it did not perform very well, but hopefully the next time for our next feature, it's a lot better.
I thought it was so cool to finally see her race because I asked her all about it, and I know so much about her racing, but I've never seen her, so it was a really cool first experience. Her car doesn't have any pink on it, any purple, because she doesn't want people to look at her as like, oh, Kendra, the girl racer. And I think she does a really good job of not stereotyping girl racers. Like, I look at her the same as any other racer. I don't think like, oh, Kendra's a girl, maybe she doesn't have as good luck in the race, or she's not as good, or boys are better or anything. And when she talks about racing, she never talks about, I'm one of the only girls. She never brings up the fact that there's not many girls here. And I think she does a really good job keeping up with the boys, so. It was really weird. I couldn't imagine sitting in that, especially in that suit she's wearing, because it looks so heavy and it's so hot. And even today, I was wearing shorts and I was dying of heat. So I don't think I could do it. I think I would feel too claustrophobic and not safe. Like, I look in there and I said to her mom, I'm like, how do you feel having your daughter sit in this? Like, it's so scary.
You want the wheel on?
I feel like I'm in a high chair.
It's so hard. This is scary because when you go from, right now I'm in first, and when you go from first to second, you have to pull this, you have to push this into neutral and then put this into gear. That's
what?
Scary. Yeah.
Back first,
No,
Abby.
please.
Back first.
She's not above the mark. Now that the sun's gone down, it's a lot colder, which means that the track's colder and we're gonna have more grip. The colder track and the hotter tires, it just, it gives you a lot more grip all the way around. Cautious with how tight we made the car for the next race. as the conditions changed so much. So we just made a little bit of a change, as I personally would prefer a loose car over a tight car, because tight cars are really uncomfortable to drive and really hard to drive, and loose cars are too, but if you have only a little bit of looseness still left in the car, it's going to be a lot better than a tight car. There's a lot of like stuff happening on the track, like the lights went out again. There's a couple accidents, a couple people broke. All in all, it was a pretty good race. Like, not really anybody was, like, there was nowhere to go. Everybody was 2x2 the whole way back, so. I don't know, I can't really complain with where we finished. I was running outside of one of the best drivers in our division, the 41B, yeah, Mike Bentley. So, yeah, I'm not really gonna complain. So, pretty good race. Kind of can't do anything. Like, your only option is to move people out of the way, and you don't want to do that. Like, that's not how I race, so I don't want other people to race me that way, so I'm not going to race anybody else that way. And that's just my opinion on it. So when you're so tight like that and there's nowhere to go, you kind of just have to wait it out and see what happens and try to make your best lane choice, and hopefully you pick the right one. Running really great at the end of the race, and there's no damage to it, so I really can't complain about anything this weekend. Yeah.
Why are you so tired this time?
I don't know, man.
Start, stop, or what?
Yeah.
Great job. You know what? You did exactly what we need you to do. You ran another awesome race, and you know what? Again, the results weren't even as well as you ran.
I know.
You were rolling those guys on the outside again. Awesome. Those long runs are perfect for you. You know?
Lane, what'd you do?
You can tell them you beat them both races
Yeah,
tonight.
I passed you. You might have broke, but I passed you.